What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, we're bringing back the series, the OPTC How-To, where in this series, we're going to be breaking down as many legends as we can and discussing what they do and what are some of the best units you guys can use to build teams with. I know I get a lot of questions about a whole bunch of different legends and just basically just asking the generic question of, how do I build a team with this legend? So hopefully in this series I can help you guys out. In this video, we're going to be doing Gild Tesoro, which is the newest legend available on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. Now, since the release of his actual Sugo Fest on Global, a lot of people have been asking me, what's the best units to use on a Gild Tesoro team? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down to you guys, some of the units that I've been using personally with Gild Tesoro in order for me, go ahead and actually use him to beat certain pieces of content. So before we get into the actual breakdown of the team, I want to go ahead and talk about the unit itself so you guys understand exactly how he works, and it makes it easier for building teams if you know what the unit does, of course. Okay, so here we have Tesoro, who is a driven striker quick character, 5 socket spots, 4 combo hits. His stats are actually really good as well, going up to 1728 after limit break, 1928 with cotton candy, 3797 health is also very, very good. He has actually a really solid recovery, just all round great stats across the board. His captain effect is very confusing, where it states that if you have one of every class, so striker, shooter, fighter, slasher, so the original 4 as well as the new 4, free spirit, cerebral, powerhouse, and driven. If you have one of each type or one of each class on your crew, you will get 3.75 times attack and 1.35 times HP and boost the chance of getting matching orbs. So straight off the bat, that's amazing, but they add some sort of little effect here that states that he'll boost the attack of all characters by 4.5 after you hit 4 greats in a row. So he is built in the way that you have to hit great in order to actually reach his high attack multiplier. Scoring a perfect reduces the attack for the next attack by 30%. So once again, you're not really trying to aim for perfects here. You can hit your 5 greats and then your last attack can be perfect because obviously there's no attack after the 6th attack. So that's the way that he's actually built. That's the way that he works. You have to continuously hit greats with him, and then on the last character you can hit a perfect, and that unit has 4.5 times attack, and that's just great. But the thing about it is because you are hitting greats, you will not have a very high chain multiplier, but his special ability fixes that on a 9-turn cooldown, deals 200,000 fixed damage to all enemies, changes the top and bottom row orbs into matching, and locks the chain multiplier at 3.25 times for 1 turn. So his special will go ahead and fix some of the problems that he has with his captain effect. So overall, he's just a really well-designed character in my personal opinion. He has a great special ability, so he has really high viability as a sub, but in this video I want to be talking about him as a captain and how you can build teams for him as a captain, because it is quite confusing to try and build a team with one of every class in order to take on some pretty difficult content. So hopefully in this video I can give you guys the information for that. Let's go ahead and jump into the team builder. Okay, so here we are at the team builder. Now here we have the double captains of Gild Tesoro. So now, let's just quickly overview once again. So, Tesoro, we've already discussed exactly what he's done. What is so good about this character? Why the hell would you want to be using him as a captain? So, obviously, as we said, with his multipliers, he has 1.35 HP. That is insane because you can get upwards of over 50,000 HP when you're using a double Gild Tesoro team, and especially depending on what type of ship you have. We'll be discussing ships in a little bit and what ships are really good with him, but yeah, you can get upwards of over 50,000 HP with this team and stuff like that, depending on what you're actually going up against. But he can get some really high HP values. Also, the fact that he's just a base 3.75, which is great. Obviously, because you are hitting greats as well, your overall attack power isn't as much as it can be compared to other 3.75 captains, but the fact that you can reach up to 4.5 after the 4 greats, and the fact that he also has a really high chain locker, means that when you are doing your burst turns, he just does a lot of damage overall. His special is also great, as we mentioned, being the chain locker, but the 200,000 fixed damage is just bonkers. That's so good for clearing really high defense, low HP mobs, and it's just a really nice unit to have. And just the way that he's built, the fact that you need all of the classes, means that you can run nearly any unit that you want on a Tesoro team and it will actually work. The only other units that I really wouldn't suggest on a Gild Tesoro team would be units that make perfects easier to hit, or units that are the same classes as Tesoro, because it just makes building the team with Tesoro really difficult. So what things are really bad about Tesoro? We've talked about how good he is, but why do not many people want to use him, okay? So obviously, the fact that you do need one of every single class, he's extremely hard to build teams for. Definitely understandable. You know, you have to actually take time into researching what content you're going up against in order to actually go ahead and build the right team for that specific piece of content. And it's very, very difficult to build a good team with Tesoro. Also, barriers being so prevalent in just high-level content is going to be quite hard for Tesoro. If it's a perfect barrier, it's going to be very hard to break down, because, you know, every time you hit it perfect, your next attack is reduced by 30%. So you don't really want to be hitting perfects unless if it's your last hit on the chain. So if it's a perfect barrier that's like 2 hits, then you're not going to be really having too much damage against that enemy. So there is one good way to get rid of that. There's actually a couple good ways to actually get rid of it. We'll talk about that in a little minute. And also the fact that, you know, if you want to go and, face like Neo content where you can bring a certain class, he's not going to be good for that. You can't run a full team with double Tesoro captains with all of the same classes on the team. So you can't run like a full driven team or a full striker team with Tesoro, as well as fulfilling the condition of having all the classes on your crew. It's not possible. You can't run a mono class team with Tesoro, but you can run mono color. You can bring like all blue units and it will still work. And because, once again, how hard he is to build teams for, you really are not going to be using him that well on a new account. Like, if you're just making a fresh rerolled account, I wouldn't suggest getting Tesoro at all, because only really established accounts are going to be able to abuse Tesoro to his fullest potential. So, yeah, that's about all I really wanted to say overall about Tesoro at this current time. But let's go ahead and talk about some ships, actually, that are going to be good with this guy. Now, you can see I've already got the Marshall D. Teach Blackbeard ship. This is 100% the best ship in the game to use with Gild Tesoro. So it will boost HP by 1.25 and also reduce the special cooldown by 1 at the start of the fight. Already amazing. And then he'll boost the attack by 1.55 if you have a shooter, striker, fighter, and a slasher. So all of the Blackbeard classes, if you have those on your crew, you get the 1.55 times attack. Now, obviously, with the way that Tesoro is built, you'll always have all the classes. So the Blackbeard ship is just a phenomenal ship to have with him. Also, the Moby Dick is quite good as well, especially for content that you're going to be running for a long time, like a training forest. The Moby Dick's actually a really good call, because even though you'll get 1.4 times health, you start the run at half of your health. But with the way that Tesoro is built, you're going to be hitting greats to get your attack multiplier anyway. So, you can just go ahead and get all those meat orbs and still be doing a lot of damage. So the Moby Dick is actually a pretty good ship for Gild Tesoro. Also, another ship that you could actually potentially run is the Blackbirds, which is the Lucy ship, being a strength, dex, and quick ship. So you can build a strength, dex, and quick Gild Tesoro team, but that just means that you are restricted to not be using your sign int characters, which might be annoying when you're doing your team building, because you might need certain class units or certain units that do certain things, and they only might be sign int characters that do those things. So it just comes down to what you're actually building, but that is also a potential option that you can use. Alright, so let's actually talk about a team. So the first team that is like the most prevalent team that most people will kind of go by is the actual batch that he came with. So that would actually obviously make the most sense here, being the Film Gold batch. Now, this batch is great, honestly, because they all work well together. The whole team will fulfill the condition of Tesoro of having all the classes. You've got a type booster, you've got an orb booster, and you've got an additional tap timing bonus character, and then you have an overall great utility unit that helps you get rid of block orbs, which is the only other thing this team really didn't have. So I've made a list on the notepad here about all the different debuffs that this specific team can get rid of. So on terms of the enemy side of the field, it can get rid of enemy attack up, defense up, enrage, barriers by 1 turn, as we mentioned before, with the fact that, barriers can be an issue here. Dice is great because he can remove 1 turn of barriers. So if they have a 1 turn perfect barrier, Dice is amazing for that. He also removes, this whole team can get rid of damage threshold, percent damage reduction, resilience, and end of turn and HP cuts. But in terms of your side of the field, they can get rid of cruise attack down, chain multiplier limit, and paralysis. So this team has a lot of utility, as well as actually dealing a lot of damage. Now, there's 3 units on the crew here with Tanaka, Dice, and Barkrite. They all give themselves a matching orb. So I would recommend putting one of those 3 characters in the middle row. and Gild Tesoro makes the top and bottom row matching with his special ability, so you can always get a matching orbs depending on, you know, when you have to activate a special. Like if you have to activate Dice's special early, maybe you put him on the bottom row, so he will already get his matching orb when you go ahead and do your full burst turn. But anyways, with all your specials active, you can deal some pretty good damage. You know, it's not the most OP amount of damage that you've ever seen in the game, but it is a pretty good amount of damage, obviously. And, you know, as we mentioned before, barriers can still be quite an issue, and if you have to activate like Dice a little bit earlier on in the run, maybe you can run someone else like Legend Blackbeard. Legend Blackbeard is also an option that you can run because he will passively allow you to go through defensive effects like barriers, damage reduction, damage nullification. So yeah, he's definitely a good option to run as a friend captain. But what about outside of his own batch? Because I know not everyone is going to have Gild Tesoro plus the whole batch. So what are some other options that you have that could just fulfill other roles in the crew that some of those crew members could do? So the first thing that I really want to talk about is universal attack boosters, because with Gild Tesoro, he pretty much is his own crew's orb manipulator and chain locker. So in that case, you don't really need to bring too many other units that manipulate your orbs, or too many other units that really do anything regarding your chain multiplier. So that does free up a little bit of space on your crew. But definitely a universal attack booster would be extremely helpful here, and they are definitely the most difficult units to put on your crew. There aren't that many good universal attack boosters, but I do have a couple of units that I want to talk about really quick. Treasure Map Big Mom is honestly one of the best characters that can be abused on this team, because she'll give you the full board of G-Orbs, so whatever team you run, you'll have like G-Orbs or whatever, and remember that your top and bottom row will get matching orbs, so use your Big Mom first, then you can use your Gild Tesoro, and then the top and bottom row can get matching orbs with the 3 times orb boost that Big Mom gives to your crew. Big Mom also will go ahead and give you a 1.25 times color affinity and 1.25 times attack boost. She is so goddamn good on Gild Tesoro teams. Like, her special alone will enable you to just steamroll content, especially like mini bosses on Colosseum, even final bosses on Colosseum. Big Mom is one of the most useful units that you can use on a Gild Tesoro team. In terms of other universal attack boosters, not everyone's going to have this unit, but Gear 4 Luffy is definitely amazing because he's a 2 times universal attack booster, really good AoE damage, makes recovery and tandem beneficial as well. Just everything about this unit is great for Gild Tesoro teams, but honestly, if you have Gear 4 Luffy, there really shouldn't be a reason you should be using like Tesoro over Gear 4 Luffy. I don't know, but it is an option. It is an option. And the good thing about Luffy as well is that he's a fighter free spirit. Both of his classes are like the complete opposite of Gild Tesoro. So, you know, this is already half of your classes already fulfilled. You know, you've got Driven Striker, Fighter Free Spirit. You only need the other 4 classes in these 3 spots, and that's really good to try and get units that will be polar opposite to Gild Tesoro to help you fill out your crew as quick as possible. And, you know, once you have all your classes set, then you can, you know, put whatever units you want to help fill out the rest of the team. Another universal attack booster that you could use that I think is amazing, but on global he's not that good at the moment, is Clash Rayleigh. Once he gets his limit break, I've talked about this on the Gear 4 video as well, once he gets his limit break, oh my god, this unit is just phenomenal. So I'm on the database right now, so I can give you guys a little bit of information about why this unit is so good. So he goes down by 3 turns, down to a 13-turn cooldown. Remember what he does, he's a universal 1.75 attack booster and randomizes non-matching orbs. But the thing about it is he gets a sailor ability when any other character uses a special, rewind his own special by 3 turns. So you can use his special like multiple times in a run, like no problem. Definitely a very powerful unit to use, and once again has 2 classes that are polar opposite of Gild Tesoro, so you know that's already half of your classes fulfilled. But once he gets his limit break on global, he's going to be phenomenal. At the moment, he's just okay, honestly, as a universal attack booster to choose from. Another one that you could do actually is V2 Kuzan. Now this obviously would be kind of restrictive to Quick and Psy, but you know you can definitely build a Quick and Psy team utilizing V2 Kuzan. He does have Striker class shared with Gild Tesoro, but so it does make filling out the rest of the team a little bit more difficult. But yeah, 100% you can definitely fill out that. And then another unit you could chuck on there as well is Sengoku, the quick rare recruit Sengoku. Like automatically, that's a really good team. But in my opinion, once again, you know, if you already have you know V2 Kuzan, then you probably should be using him as the captain anyways, and then run Tesoro as the sub. But that is just an option that you can have if you do have V2 Kuzan, because you know this whole team already just fits really well together. Another really cool character actually is Legend Frankie. He does have a 6+ on Japan, and he's even better on Japan, but he's a really cool unit. He randomizes non-matching orbs and block orbs, so, you know, once again, if you do get given some block orbs, Frankie's a really good unit to help you get rid of that. But one of the things with Frankie is that he boosts only the primary classes, so shooter, fighter, / a striker, by 2 times for 1 turn. So it would be ideal to run the rest of the units on your crew that have at least one of the primary classes. Like Cerebral Free Spirit units wouldn't be that good on a team with Legend Frankie, but that is an option, honestly. If you've got Gild Tesoro and you have Legend Frankie, then he's a really good type booster for Tesoro. Now, Treasure Map Ace is also a pretty decent unit as well. It changes all orbs, including block, into strength. So you definitely use his special first, and then Tesoro to help you get some more matching orbs. But he boosts the attack of strength, quick, and size. So this does limit what kind of characters you can put in your crew if you do choose to run Treasure Map Ace as your type booster for your crew. And you do not get your strength orbs beneficial to all your characters, because obviously your captain is not Free Spirit. But that is, again, another option. The universal type boosters are very difficult to find for the Tesoro team. But, you know, Treasure Map Ace is obviously an option. And the last unit I want to talk about is Kung Fu Luffy. He is also an option, but he's probably one of the last units I would recommend to you guys, because he has an added effect with not only being a 1.75 type booster for 2 turns, but he will also make perfects easier to hit for 2 turns. This actually can hinder your ability to hit great with your Gild Tesoro captain effect. Yes, he is a type booster, but he can be quite a problem to use. But that is an option. I wouldn't recommend it, but, you know, hey, it's there. And he also makes Dex beneficial for all characters as a sailor, which is honestly pretty good. But if he didn't make perfects easier to hit, he would be a phenomenal absolute unit for the Gild Tesoro teams. Actually, there's actually one more character I completely forgot about, which is actually Vince Mokniji, an amazing unit that states if your captain is Psy or Quick, he will boost all characters' attack by 1.75 for 2 turns. So yeah, he's actually a really solid unit if you really wanted to do that. Now, if you guys realize that a lot of those type boosters that I mentioned were 1-turn type boosters, so characters that would actually help you a lot here would be characters like V1 Kuzan 6+, and also Doflamingo, the V2 Raid Doflamingo. Both of these characters will work on this team for helping you extend durations of buffs on your crew. So if you do want to carry type boosts multiple turns through multiple rooms, I would suggest running characters like these, which can help you out a crap ton. Obviously, Kuzan's kind of an interesting one, because he only extended buffs by 1 turn, and he's already a chain locker. So you've already got Gild Tesoro being a chain locker, but the fact that he extends buffs is so useful. Doflamingo is quite good as well, because he locks your orbs, and also the fact that he will extend buffs by 2 turns. So yeah, Doflamingo is a good unit as well, and Kuzan is also not a terrible unit to use as well, and both of them can work on Gild Tesoro teams. And now I want to talk about orb boosters. Obviously, this is not going to be like a full team, but all 4 of these units are really good orb boosters that you can run on a Gild Tesoro team that can work. Legend Nami is probably like one of the best ones, but yeah, definitely Big Mom is high-key like amazing. Ichiji is also an option. He gives you a 2 times orb boost if your captain is quick or an int character. You do not get the added effect of reducing increased damage taken, but still the orb boost is the main key thing about him that makes him really good. Legend Doflamingo is also quite good as well. Adjacent orbs matching, and also 2 times orb boost, so you can actually run your Gild Tesoro to make your bottom row matching, and you can also run your Doflamingo to make your other orb matching. Guaranteed 5 orbs matching with a 2 times orb boost and a 3.25 chain lock. So yeah, Legend Dofi is a phenomenal unit to use if you want to use an orb booster. Again, another full array of orb boosters you can use here. You can either use the Raid or Neo Kuma, and again, Raid or Neo Doflamingo, and actually a character I just remembered right now is Raid or Neo Bellamy. All of these characters are all orb boosters. Bellamy's quite good because he makes some orbs beneficial for your crew. Kuma's good because he is an orb manipulator. Doflamingo is quite nice because he does allow you to change your orbs around. That is okay, I guess. But I definitely think Kuma or your Bellamy are going to be quite useful here just because of their orb manipulation for your crew. You've got Sanji here, who's also good. Actually, in my original showcase video with Gild Tesoro, I used Sanji against the Training Forest, and he was quite useful. The fact that he gives you the orb boost as well as the damage reduction, and Legend Marker is like probably one of the better orb boosters you can use as well. It won't allow you to get a lot more damage, but for content that you're going to be running for an extremely long time, he's quite good because of the nearly full heal that he'll give you, or just about a full heal that he'll give you, because with your 1.35 HP boost, Legend Marker is going to give you so much health back as well as giving you the 2 turns of your orb boost. So a Legend Marker, a very, very key unit for very long fights and very difficult fights. As we mentioned before, Sengoku is actually good because when you run Sengoku on the team, all you need is one more sight or quick character, and you can get your actual 2 times orb boost, as well as making recovery in tandem beneficial, and also 4 turns of despair and attack down reduction. Sengoku, very, very good unit, honestly. He's just such an amazing rare recruit character. And one last character that is actually good for orb boost is going to be your treasure map Whitebeard, who does really good AoE damage, kind of like Tesoro. I believe he does it through barriers as well. And if the enemy has, I believe if it's a debuff protector or a delay protector, he's a 2 times orb boost. So yeah, he's a pretty good unit to use, honestly. I would highly recommend him for some very difficult fights. But that's all of the main orb boosters that I would suggest to you guys to try and build teams around when you're using your Gild Tesoro team outside of the original Gild Tesoro batch. Now, some other units that are actually quite good as well that I have used in the past with Gild Tesoro is actually Treasure Map Luffy, the Gear 4 Luffy, because he's a rainbow color affinity booster. Although with this situation here, you guys have seen that throughout this video, a lot of the good units for the Gild Tesoro team are actually quick units. So if you are up against a strength boss, then definitely bring the Treasure Map Gear 4. But, you know, obviously if you're going to be versing a lot of Dex characters or just a lot of neutral damage, then Treasure Map Gear 4 isn't really going to be a good option. Actually, one of the cool combinations you can do here with Gild Tesoro is actually run a combination of V2 Doflamingo and your V1 Law 6+. So this is one of the best combinations you can run in the game. There are not many teams that can actually build a combination like this. So you can use your V1 Law to make your specials go through barriers, and then you can go ahead and use your V2 Doflamingo special to do the overkill damage to the enemy. And with this specific team in mind, you've already got Driven, Striker, Cerebral, Slasher, and Free Spirit. That's already 5 of the 8 classes. So you only need 3 classes to fulfill your last 2 slots, and you can actually build this team. And this team can beat a lot of content just because of that nice little combination right there of utilizing V1 Law and Doflamingo. It's insane. And honestly, you can actually replace Doflamingo with a character like Mihawk, although it does make building your team a little bit more difficult because now you have to like have 4 classes to fulfill for your last 2 slots. But that is also an option if you don't have a V2 Doflamingo to run, you know, your V1 Law and also your Mihawk to go through barriers. And the last little unit that I want to talk about is like the Time Skip Kid, who just came out recently on Global. He's been out for this month, and you can run him on this team to get that really high end of turn damage because it depends on your captain being either a striker or a shooter. And here we go with Tesoro being a striker character. You can use him at like the start of a run and reduce all your cooldowns of your strikers with your Gild Tesoros. And Gild Tesoro is already on a really low cooldown with the Blackbeard ship and cooldown sockets. You're already down 3 turns. He reduces it by 2 turns, I believe. Yes, so that's already 5 turns of cooldown reduction as soon as you start the run, which means your Gild Tesoros are on a 4-turn cooldown. So yeah, like he's just an amazing unit to run, and it allows you to speed farm a little bit easier on some of the more easier content. For more difficult content, I don't think Kid's a very good unit to run, but it is an option that you guys can actually run. So this is just an example of a team that you can build that can probably destroy a lot of content. Now obviously it doesn't have much utility, but this is whole based around, you know, the Law and Doflamingo combination, and you've also got Big Mom, which is honestly one of the best boosters you can use. Kizaru gives himself his own matching orb, which means he's overall going to be doing a lot more damage for your crew. You can see there's a lot of damage, and you do have the option for the following turn to use your V1 Law and your Doflamingo to use his special through barriers. Obviously if the enemy doesn't have a barrier or any defensive effect, you don't even need to bring Law, and you can completely replace some of the units on this team. But it goes to show, like, this is like the type of team that we started with, and the only units that we needed to fulfill on this team was a powerhouse, shooter, and fighter. So yeah, Big Mom was one of the best boosters you can use, definitely. And then you needed a shooter and a fighter, and there weren't many other options that I looked here. Like, using the database is really good because you can filter through certain classes, and you can look it through like what characters you really want to put on your crew. There wasn't really too many characters that kind of fit in that situation there, and the Charlotte Linlin and Tesoro special is just amazing. This is just one type of team that you can go up against, but remember, it does completely depend on the content that you're facing. You know, if the enemy has something to do with, like, he has damage reduction or something, make sure to bring a unit that has damage reduction. What I would suggest, look at what the content does first, and then bring units on your crew that can counter that. Once you do that, then you can bring your type booster and your orb booster on top of that. Definitely try and counter what the boss does first, bring the units for that, and then see what you have left, see what you have to work with, and then fill in the rest of your crew that way. That is the best way to build teams with Gild Tesoro. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this breakdown of Gild Tesoro and what goes through my mind when I try and build these characters, and hopefully this guide is, you know, giving you guys some information about him and just some of the characters that you might not have thought of that are really good to run with Gild Tesoro. I've definitely probably missed a couple units along the way here. Let me know if I have missed any of them that you guys use with Gild Tesoro down below in the comment section. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and if you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.